Oh, I hope he picks up. We need to have a chat about this. Jürgen, it's Shaun. You know, your managerial protege, some might say. Just leading into this Champions League semi-final, just thought we'd check in, see how things are going over there at Real Madrid.
Let's talk about six, baby. Let's
Jürgen.
talk about you and me. Let's
Jürgen,
talk
you
about
can't
all
keep
the good
singing
things
Liverpool.
and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about six.
Yeah, good tune, Jürgen. I prefer Stairway to 7 personally, but you can't keep singing Liverpool songs at Real Madrid these days, okay? And while we're on the subject of the Champions League semi-final, any chance you could put out a slightly rotated team? Because your team looks really stacked, if I'm being honest. Any chance you could maybe throw a dog a bone? We don't have any European championships yet. You have loads over there.
I can't.
If you get rid of the T, it sounds better. I can.
I can't.
Okay, yep. No, that was a long shot. Okay. Jürgen? That didn't work. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 130 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode, it is the biggest game of the series so far. We take on Real Madrid over 2 legs in the Champions League semi-final to see if we can make our way through to our third European final, our first Champions League final of this save for the start of next week. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we come into this one off the back of yesterday's episode, which was a quarterfinal against Bayern Munich. If you missed that one, I do suggest you go and check that out. In the top right corner, I'll leave a link to it. A big upset for us there, not just winning one leg, but winning both legs. That will give us a good boost. But it does look like a tougher test today. We are taking on a very strong looking Real Madrid lineup here, led by Jürgen Klopp these days, after he spent some time in the German national job after leaving Liverpool and is now at Real Madrid. They are trying to win their 15th UEFA Champions League this season. In this save universe, we are going for our first, and as you can see on screen, as mentioned in the intro, they have a ridiculously strong team here at Real Madrid, pretty much a who's who of who you would want at the start of an FM save for most people, with a few good new gens added in there, like Nemeth, who was of course the next gen winner from last season. So it is a very strong Real Madrid lineup we are taking on today. Actually looks a fair bit stronger than what we did defeat yesterday in Bayern Munich. The other semi-final is between PSG and Chelsea, but we've actually played no games competitively off the back of that quarter-final win against Bayern Munich, but we do have some players returning from injury for these games. Hopefully they can last the full 2 legs. We have Kenny Boreal. He's come back from that injury that he had. He comes straight back into the starting 11, despite the fact Andy Howard did quite a good job for us yesterday against Bayern Munich, and also on the bench after missing out on the second leg. Jonata is back there to cover us up front if Matthias Aguirre doesn't fire in these 2 legs against Real Madrid. But we are certainly the outsiders going into this one, much like we were in yesterday's episode. But as you saw then, we might be a little bit better than we think, and we might be able to pull off another upset here and hopefully make our way through to our first ever Champions League final. The first leg is going to be played at the Bernabeu in Madrid, and we'll come back shortly in the rain and see what we can do here against Jürgen Klopp's Real Madrid in the first leg. And here are the team sheets for the first leg of the semi-final. Real Madrid, a little bit different to what you saw before on the club info page. It is still a very strong 11. That one, that front three of Mbappe, Makoko, and Vinicius does look quite lethal. Just that one change in our starting lineup. Kenny Boreal coming back into the mix. We'll see what we can do here away from home, taking that to the second leg back in Iceland. And after only 2 minutes, we do have the first highlight. Of course, Real Madrid are in the white with a little bit of a blue trim. You might be able to see we are in our green home uniforms, despite being in Madrid here in Real Madrid. On the attack early, Camavinga inside the inner box. Makoko gets a shot off. Thankfully, we do block it and clear it, but Real Madrid on top of us early here, but still 0-0. And only a few minutes off the back of that first highlight is another one here, potentially in favour of Real Madrid, albeit this time they're going to have to play out from the back, off the back of a goal kick, but they are holding possession quite well here. A nice ball out there to their left winger. He tries to size up here. Levan Tam puts a ball in there for Vinicius Jr. Lassana Doumbia brings them down. We'll wait and see what VAR has to say, but usually these are given as penalties. Hopefully that's not the case, because we really can't afford to be doing that against a team like Real Madrid. And indeed, we do give away an early penalty. Lassana Doumbia, who for some reason still inside the box while the penalty is being taken. Kylian Mbappe puts that away. Husavik goes the right way, and that is not the start that we are after here. Away from home, we go down 1-0 early, and this does not look like a Real Madrid team who need our help in terms of penalties. That's poor there from Lassana Doumbia. Real Madrid 1-0 up here after only 8 minutes. And just past the half-hour mark for our next highlight, Real Madrid yet again are on the attack. There's one yellow card for an attacker on both teams, their left winger as well as Aguirre for us, but Salamakers now down their right-hand side, plays that into the box, gets it back just on the edge, puts a ball far post for Camavinga. He gets his head on the end of that. He has every right to be smiling his face off, and we are in all sorts of trouble here after half an hour. It's reminding me of the first leg against AC Milan. Not too sure if we're going to be able to pull this one back. If we are, we need a response fairly shortly, because at the moment Real Madrid are all over us. 2-0 up here just past the half-hour mark. And not too long off the back of that second goal to Real Madrid, we might finally get a bit of possession here. We do have a throw-in. Thankfully, Real Madrid can only clear that as far as Levan Tam. For the first time in a highlight that we've seen in this game so far, we do have some possession, albeit that ball looking for Nicholas Zimmerman had a little bit too much on it, and it is Real Madrid now who yet again look to play out from the back, and it is up to Yusufa Makoko. We know how lethal he is from our Blue Hell worldwide save last season. Some poor passing at the back there. The ball goes in for Mbappe. Thankfully, no, another blocked shot. It still remains 2-0 with just under 10 minutes left here of the first half of the away leg. Yet again, it's looking a little bit dodgy there from our throw-ins. That's not a good start for us here. We've been pretty good from set piece so far in this Champions League campaign, but Real Madrid so far getting a lot of possession in the first leg of the semi-final. 2-0 up. Hopefully we can turn off the tap at the back and try and keep this respectable going into the second leg in Iceland. Bit of a mistake there from Inacio at the back as the game freezes a bit. Matthias Aguirre will get a chance. He puts that in the back of the net, and we might have a lifeline here going into half-time of the first leg. That could be a very important goal as long as we start to shore things up defensively. It's a bit of a mistake there a few times from Inacio. Matthias Aguirre able to get through on goal one-on-one with the keeper, puts it past him, and we are somewhat back in this 2-1 late in the first half of the away leg. Albeit right off the back of that goal, we are back on the centre spot, and Real Madrid do have another highlight. Hopefully we can hold on here and they don't get their 2-goal lead back immediately. That would be a bit of a disaster. So far this is playing out quite similarly to the first leg against AC Milan in the first knockout round. If we can get an equaliser in this one, that would be great. Good chance there for Vinicius Jr., albeit from a very tight angle. Good save there from Husavik, but they will still have a corner here. Will Real Madrid? Mbappe puts this into the mixer. Thankfully, Basaroge will head that clear. And with 5 minutes left, it's 2-1 Real Madrid in the first half of the first leg. And just as I was trying to wrap that up, we are back down Real Madrid's end for another highlight here, potentially in their favour. Can they grab that 2-goal cushion back before half-time? They play that back in to Camavinga. Good tackle there from Doumbia. Nianzou gets a shot off, and Husavik just does enough there to parry that onto the post. Looks like we might be going into half-time, hopefully only 2-1 down. And might not be the case, because we are back down the other end here, this time for a throw-in of our own. Zimmerman inside the box, tries to get a shot off, but it's blocked there by a Real Madrid defender. Thankfully for them, that deflection does fall quite safely into the hands of their goalkeeper. So a very busy first half that was. Not too disappointed with the scoreline at the moment. We are still right in this one, only 2-1 down, but the signs in terms of those highlights aren't that encouraging. Real Madrid all over us, it is fair to say. We will make one change at half-time. Frederick Larsson only on 6.4, so Chaka Traore can come on for him, and hopefully we can turn off the tap at the back here for the second half, get a goal, and maybe go into the second leg in Iceland with things being all square, as we are 2-1 down at half-time in the away leg. And a highlight very early on here in the second half, Real Madrid looking to play out from the back, off the back of a goal kick, as I said, at half-time. Hopefully we can turn the tap off here defensively, and that's a good start there from Ali Ramadan, but unfortunately Real Madrid do get possession back. Good chance here for Makoko. Thankfully that comes off the upright, and it should still be 2-1 early in the second half. And not too long off the back of that first highlight in the second half, we're going to make our second substitution. Lee Van Tam only on a 6.5 and has just picked up a yellow card. Ian Carlo to come on for him with just about 40 minutes left. And up to the 57-minute mark for our next highlight. This time it is us looking to play out from the back. We pass that back to Husavik. He tries to pump that deep for Nicholas Zimmerman on a yellow card. Real Madrid look to get us there on the counter-attack. Thankfully, yet again, Husavik with a good save there, this time off of Makoko, but it will be yet another corner here for Real Madrid. They go far post. Thankfully, Prisco will head that one away. We'll see if Makoko can get anything going here for the white team here in Real Madrid, but a good foot in there from Kenny Boreal. We are still 2-1 up at the hour mark. And up to the 67-minute mark, it's time for us to make our last substitution. We've got a few options here in terms of players who we could take off. I think Nicholas Zimmerman on a 6.3 and a yellow card, the most sensible option. Jonata to come on for him. We'll play him out left, Chaka Traore out right, and see if we can grab an equaliser here inside the last 20 minutes, because we're still only down by 2-1. And very shortly off the back of our last substitution, it is a throw in here for Real Madrid. Chaka Traore gets in the way, but hoofs that deep, and Salamakers is there to tidy things up for Real Madrid. Fofana starts to make his way inside our half. Nice ball over the top there for Salamakers. Just makes his way inside the byline. Valverde, far post for Camavinga. Yet again, he gets his head on the end of that. He has been very threatening in the air in this one, and that gets their 2-goal cushion back. And this is starting to look like a bit of a mountain for us to climb potentially in the home league back in Iceland. Of course, so far in the knockouts, we have only managed to win our home leagues by 1-0, but a good header there from Camavinga just inside that far post, and Real Madrid back in front by 2 goals, 3-1 with 20 minutes left. And we are about to approach injury time in this away leg. We are still down by 2 goals, 3-1 with 2 minutes left, and there's one more highlight here, a throw in our favour. We do find Basaro Gay off it, and hopefully we can get a chance, but we do miss out on possession there, and Nemeth starts to make his way forward. Thankfully, Basaro Gay does get possession back for us, but then a poor ball, I think that time, that might have been from Jonata, and Real Madrid are back in possession. Hopefully, we can just keep the scoreline here 2-3-1, because anything worse than this, and it is probably tie over, it is fair to say, even though the second leg is being played back in Iceland, where Real Madrid might freeze themselves to death, but Salamaker's given far too much space there down their right-hand side. Boreal not picking him up quite as early as we would have wanted to, but Valverde back to Musiala. Gabriel Nemeth there towards the far post. He will head that in. They have been completely dominant in the air on the attack today, and I think that looked pretty clear-cut. The next gen winner from last year has just put Real Madrid 4-1 up. We won't even get to see the end result of that VAR check, because they play the goal replay nice and early. Musiala far post, and Nemeth too good there for Ali Ramadan in the air. And unfortunately, Real Madrid have got 2 goals in the second half as well as the first half, and it looks like it is going to be 4-1 going into the second leg back in Iceland, and that is an almighty mountain to climb. They thoroughly outplayed us. We got that goal late in the first half through Matthias Aguirre. That did come from an error from Inacio in the Real Madrid defence, but they were just far too good for us there. I think it is fair to say. We'll try and tell the boys that they did decently, even though we really did truly get spanked there. I think it is fair to say, but that is not the result that we were after. It might be a case of our dream run in this season's Champions League being close to ending, I think, because we have to overturn a big deficit in the second leg off the back of losing that one at the Bernabeu by 4-1. We have no competitive games in between now and that second leg, so I think what we're going to do is come back and get straight into the action from the Laugardas Vola. And here are the team sheets for the second leg. Of course, we are 4-1 down on aggregate. We are putting out exactly the same squad as we did for that first leg. Hopefully we can bounce back here at home and at least get something out of the second leg. Real Madrid with a few little changes here and there, but still a very similar team for them, and they would need a big collapse here to not be making the Champions League final as we kick things off 4-1 down. And 13 minutes gone, we have our first highlight here of the second leg at the Laugardas Vola. We have a goal kick having to play out from the back to Prisco. Hoofs that deep, but Wesley Fofana is there to tidy things up, and Real Madrid will get stuff going here from the back. Yusufa Makoko through on goal, passes that out though to Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe on the volley, but thankfully he puts that into one of our defenders. Good block there, and we now again have to play out from the back, although that's a poor clearance there from Husavik and Camavinga over there from Mbappe. Really tight angle. That is so poor from Husavik, and Kylian Mbappe puts Real Madrid up 1-0 on the day, and that probably absolutely puts pay to this tie. We're just not quite delivering the same way as we have done in the Champions League so far against a very, very good Real Madrid team. That sort of goalkeeping effort there certainly doesn't help. 1-0 down here. And we have to go up to the 29-minute mark for our next highlight, and it is a throw in our favour. Unlike the last game, we actually link up with our teammates, although just as I say that, good chance here for Makoko. Tries to chip Husavik, nearly get enough dip on that, just over the bar. Still 1-0 on the day, 5-1 Real Madrid on aggregate. And 36 minutes gone, we do have a free kick here. We really need to be taking these if we want to keep ourselves alive in this tie and try and pull off an absolute miracle comeback. Zimmerman goes top right corner, but Mamajvili is able to pull off a pretty good save there. That ball was looking like it might find that top right corner. Doumbia will try and get something going here though from the corner, but Fofana is able to clear that. So Real Madrid deal with one of our rare attacks so far in this tie. Prisco with a pretty good foul there, it is fair to say, but we are still down by 4 goals on aggregate late in this first half of the second leg. And just shy of half-time, Real Madrid here do have a throw-in inside the final third. They put this one into the mix. A great chance for Makoko, but just puts it wide, and it does look like we are going into half-time 1-0 down. We are going to need a huge performance here in the second half if we want anything out of this game. We are going to make a change at half-time. Yet again, Frederick Larsson not really performing. Chakachare to come on for him, but we're in all sorts of trouble here. 5-1 down with 45 minutes left. And up to the hour mark, we are going to make our last few substitutions at this stage. Kenny Borrell was playing quite well there on a 7, but he has gone down to a red heart, so Andy Howard is going to come on for him. We've also got Matthias Aguirre on a 6.4. We'll try Joe Nada up front for this last half hour and see if that changes anything. We'll see if anything comes from this highlight before we do make those substitutions as well. So we do actually have a spell of possession here inside the final third of Real Madrid, but Bassero Guy plays that back to Ali Ramadan. Looks like a few players here glitching out being in all black, but Borrell given a lot of space there. Down the left-hand side, can't quite link up, but the ball is headed clear there to Levan Tam. Doumbia plays that back out to Bassero Guy. Gives some good short passing. Aguirre does get a shot on target, but pretty safely saved, and we are still down by 4 with just under a half hour left. And 15 minutes left in this one. It does look pretty clear-cut now that we are going to get knocked out of the Champions League in the semi-final, albeit by a very, very good Real Madrid team led here by Jürgen Klopp. But Jonata through on goal. Can he pull us back an equaliser, which could have been quite useful for the coefficient, at least getting a draw out of this second leg potentially, but that is a good save there yet again from the Georgian goalkeeper. For Real Madrid, they deal with the corner off the back of that. Valverde is going to win the race to that ball, and we are still 4 goals down here with just about 10 minutes left of the second leg. And entering injury time here of this Champions League semi-final, Real Madrid have been far too good for us, especially in that first leg. We kept things a lot tighter there in the second leg. You look at the stats, we probably should have actually drawn that second leg, but in the end, the damage was done with that first leg away from home, and even then, Real Madrid just have a lot more quality than we do. I think it is quite clear to see by the differences in the 11s that were put out by both teams. So in the end, our great run in this season's Champions League is over after we lose the first leg 4-1 away from home, and then at home 1-0, Real Madrid making their way through to the Champions League final. And back in the inbox off the back of that Champions League semi-final, as I said, unfortunately Real Madrid in the end were just far, far too good for us, but that is easily our best campaign so far in the Champions League. Only the second time that we have made the knockouts of this competition, and we got all the way through to the semi-finals before being defeated by Real Madrid, and that was off the back of a pretty surprising quarter-final win there over Bayern Munich yesterday. I think it is fair to say, so that's a really good season here for us at Volsungur, and hopefully we can start to build on that and start to make these final few stages of the Champions League a little bit more regularly in the upcoming seasons. A good thing to see there too is we get an additional around about 10.7 million for making that Champions League semi-final. So you've got a lot of money in the kitty through this run to those Champions League semi-finals this season here at Volsungur. And just an update on who is going to be playing in that Champions League final. And it will be Real Madrid taking on PSG after they defeated Chelsea in both legs by 1-0. So PSG versus Real Madrid in the 2032 Champions League final, which we can wrap up at the start of next week after we unfortunately couldn't quite make our way through to our first Champions League final. But as I said, that is certainly encouraging signs for only our second season making it through to the Champions League knockouts. But that will do it for today's episode and this week here on Husavik Heroes. If you did enjoy today's episode, despite that quite heavy loss there in the semi-final to Real Madrid, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We will come back at the start of next week, go for nearly a month, and get through our end of European season roundup. I think we will give you guys the results of the top 5 European leagues, those UEFA finals, including the Champions League, and we'll also show you guys a game in and around that time as well. Might be the one in the league, either away at KA or at home to Breidablik, do our coefficient update, the rankings and all that stuff as well. In fact, seeing as you've held on for this long, we might give you guys a little bit of a preview on the coefficient, because that was our best season by far, as I said, in the Champions League so far. And if we make our way down, we have picked up a 9.5, so it's nearly as good as the year that we did make the Europa League final 3 seasons ago, and that should give us a nice boost up the coefficient rankings. Looks like we are going to be jumping above both Turkey and Greece, as well as just above Ukraine as well, so should be a good rise up. We will hopefully, off the back of this season, get that second Champions League qualifying spot back, as well as that Europa League one as well for a few seasons time. But as I said, we'll come back at the start of next week for that end of European season roundup, and hopefully on Tuesday next week your time, Wednesday morning my time, we can get back into European qualifying, dropping down from the semi-finals of the Champions League into the second qualifying round. But that's what's coming up early next week. We'll also do our squad run through as well, so there's going to be a lot to get through in the first few episodes of next week. But until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you next. Cheers.